I, 44-year-old male, recently discovered that my wife, 39-year-old female, has been cheating on me. A few days ago, my 14-year-old told me about the affair. I reassured her that everything is okay and that her mother and I will explain it to her. I'm considering telling her that her mother and I have an open relationship to keep the truth hidden so it doesn't seem like she cheated on me. I've been going through the motions, feeling numb. My wife is still staying at her parents' place and barely communicating with me. Now I understand why. Maybe if I confront her about the affair, she'll end it and come back home. We have a good life together, and we're good for each other. I feel like I'm just rambling on right now. If this happened to my brother and I saw him talking like I am now, I would grab him and give him a reality check. I've seen movies, heard stories, and watched shows where couples talk about overcoming infidelity. I used to think they were foolish and should just get a divorce. I always said I would never forgive my wife if she cheated on me. But now I find myself in the same situation and sounding just like those people. So far from what I've seen, it was just emotional involvement and exchanging explicit photos, but my daughter discovered many pictures, and I've only seen about 4 of them. There are at least 30 pictures in total. And as I go through the remaining photos, I fear it will confirm that my wife has been having this affair for a long time, and it raises doubts about whether my daughters are biologically mine. If I make this public, it won't just turn my world upside down, but it will also have a profound impact on my daughters. I don't want to hurt them in that way. I only eat when my daughters are around to maintain the illusion that everything is fine. But when I'm alone, I feel nauseous and tremble. This isn't just some teenage relationship. This is the woman I've built my entire life with. Deep down, I know what I should do, but I don't want to face it. I have 5 kids, but there's a chance that 3 of them, maybe even all 5, are not biologically mine, the twins, and the one my soon-to-be ex-wife is pregnant with. I'm still waiting for the results to confirm. I know she's still involved with the guy who might be their father, and it's likely that he'll want to be in their lives once the divorce is finalized. But I love these girls with all my heart. I've been their dad for 5 years. Every time I hear their voices and see their smiles, they bring so much joy to my life. I know it might sound foolish, but I genuinely care for these girls. After a while, the DNA test results are in, and it's not good news. The twins and the newborn are not biologically mine. I confronted my wife about the affair, and while she expressed remorse, she doesn't regret it because she loves the other man. Shockingly, her parents were aware of the affair long before I found out. They were actually facilitating their meetings by allowing my wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, and her affair partner to meet at their home. It's baffling why her parents would assist her instead of being decent people. They didn't want to risk facing humiliation, especially considering their heavy involvement in the local church. Additionally, they didn't want to separate the twins from their biological father. My 14-year-old and 10-year-old kids are currently staying with my brother and sister-in-law. I just don't have the emotional strength to take care of them right now. They harbor strong resentment towards their mother and refuse to communicate with her. Both of them are undergoing therapy to help them cope. I attempted to take the twins with me so they could be with their sisters, but my wife strongly opposed it and begged me not to. As I was leaving, I noticed the AP, affair partner, heading towards my in-laws' house in his car, so it's likely that he's with my wife at the moment. AP was also married, and I've been in touch with his wife, who informed me that she's filing for divorce. I haven't asked her if AP has made any efforts to reconcile, and honestly, I couldn't care less. Screw him. Screw my wife. Screw my stupid in-laws. I always thought my in-laws were uptight-a-holes anyway. I'm actually glad they're facing social isolation and being shamed. My mother-in-law and father-in-law have been expelled from the church, and it seems like the church's social media page has deleted any trace of them. I take pleasure in their humiliation, since it's the one thing they were most afraid of. Mother-in-law called me crying, asking me to fix the situation, as if there's something to fix. Father-in-law wanted me to work things out, but I simply asked him if he would be so eager to reconcile if he were in my shoes. He responded with silence before hanging up. My wife keeps trying to contact me, but I'm ignoring her. I can't help but feel a little satisfaction seeing how desperate she is to reach me, I have no idea what she wants, and I'm in no rush to talk to her anytime soon. I know I'll have to eventually, though. Before I receive the results, I was ready to take her to court and fight for custody of the twins. I feel pathetic. Going to work is a struggle. My coworkers look at me with pity, and I've stopped grocery shopping altogether. I can sense people staring and whispering about me. Since this whole thing came out, I've lost around 15 pounds. I can hardly sleep at night, and therapy doesn't seem to be helping much. This has been the absolute worst year of my life. Sometimes I wish I'd kept my mouth shut in the car a few months ago. If I had, I could be enjoying time with the newborn and decorating our home. The house is so quiet. It should be filled with the sounds of my daughters laughing or arguing. I should be busy changing a diaper. I should be hearing my wife belting out tunes, trying to outdo Mariah Carey. The house should smell sweet and feel warm. Dirty diapers should be wrapped up in a bag, ready to be thrown away. I should be wearing a smile, laughing and enjoying life. This house should be bursting with happiness and vitality. But now, it's just cold, empty, and silent. It feels like everything I've done was in vain. I had a tough childhood, and all I wanted was a happy adulthood. But it seems like I can never catch a break. I always end up losing. I don't feel like a man anymore. I don't even feel human. Update. All this soul-searching and regret, it's like being trapped in a maze with no exit. But then a change comes. A revelation, a moment of clarity. Life doesn't have to end here. My life doesn't have to end here. I'm not my failures. I'm not my broken marriage. And I'm definitely not defined by my wife's betrayal. The realization sets in. The harsh truth that my wife wasn't the person I thought she was. Instead of living up to her vows, she used her parents' house as a den for her infidelity. And her parents, who I thought were our well-wishers, were no better, providing her and her lover the space to tarnish our marriage. After everything that happened, the divorce was inevitable. I won the custody of my 2 daughters, and we set off on a new journey. I changed my number, packed up our lives, and moved to a different state to start anew. I wanted to give my children a fresh start, away from the toxicity and the memories of their mother's betrayal. Life's been better. I started rebuilding our lives step by step. I created a safe and loving home for my daughters. I returned to work, invested myself fully in it, and in time, the pain began to dull. My girls resumed school, and slowly, we found our new normal. Meanwhile, I heard news from my old friends that my ex-wife was struggling. She was left with the twins and a newborn. Her affair partner vanished after the divorce, and she had to move back with her parents. She was trying to get in touch with me, asking my friends about my whereabouts, but I'd moved on and decided to never let her back into my life. She deserved to face the consequences of her actions. It was clear that she was struggling, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. She had brought this misery upon herself, and it was her own doing. It felt like a taste of sweet justice. But then, I couldn't ignore the fact that the twins and the newborn were caught in the middle. They were innocent in all of this. However, I had to remind myself that they were not my responsibility. They were the responsibility of their father, the man she chose over our family. Overcoming the betrayal was tough, but every day brought new strength. I saw my daughters growing into strong individuals, and their happiness became my solace. As I watched them, I felt a sense of accomplishment. I had been their rock during the most turbulent times, and I felt proud of how well they handled the changes. In the end, I realized that it wasn't me who lost in this whole scenario. I found my strength, my peace, and a second chance to live my life on my terms. On the other hand, my ex-wife lost a loyal husband, a loving family, and a peaceful life. Now as I sit in my new home, my daughters playing in the next room, their laughter echoing around, I realize that I am far from defeated. I feel more like a man than ever, a man who faced adversity and came out stronger. My ex-wife's betrayal didn't break me. It made me. This is the new reality, the reality I chose, and it is one I wouldn't trade for anything. Second story. My wife and I, both 29 years old, have been together since high school. We went to college together, pursued professional school together, and now we're in the final stages of our postgraduate training. We've been married for 8 years and have been a couple for 15 years in total. I recently completed my training ahead of her, and I'm entering a phase of my career where I've secured a significant contract. In a couple of months, my salary, which is currently around $50,000, will instantly increase by 5-6 times. This will allow us to enjoy a lifestyle we've never experienced before. My wife still has 2 more years until she reaches a similar milestone in her career. We were so close to finally reaping the rewards of all the years we've supported each other and delayed our own desires. I made sure to negotiate my contract to extend until she finishes her training so we could have the freedom to choose where we wanted to live and build our dream life on our own terms. Around a month ago, my wife came to me and shared that she was feeling a complex attraction towards a female coworker and close friend of hers. It was something new for her, since she had never felt drawn to women before. I admired her bravery in acknowledging these emotions to herself and discussing them with me, especially considering her conservative religious upbringing. While we had always been in a monogamous relationship, we had previously talked about the possibility of polyamory in a hypothetical sense. I had expressed my belief that it's possible for humans to have feelings for multiple people without devaluing or undermining the legitimacy of those feelings. She requested a conditional open marriage so she could explore these newfound aspects. She also spoke to her friend, who reciprocated the attraction. Together, we had discussions and established some ground rules that all parties involved could agree on. These rules were designed to ensure that our marriage remained the ultimate priority while allowing them to explore their connection with each other with full consent. I created this account with the intention of exploring polyamory and open marriage communities. Whenever I felt any negative emotions, I saw them as signs of jealousy that I needed to work on. I even started seeing a therapist specifically to process those feelings and give my wife, whom I deeply trusted, the freedom I believed she deserved. There were moments when I apologized to both of them for taking longer than expected to adjust to the arrangement. However, I didn't have to endure this for long because my growing suspicions that something was seriously wrong turned out to be true. After several instances of our agreed-upon rules being violated within a short span of time, and my wife pressuring me to let her push those boundaries further and faster than I was comfortable with, along with other suspicious and dishonest behavior, I couldn't ignore my doubts any longer. One night, while she was asleep, I decided to go through her phone to find out the truth. I genuinely felt terrible for invading her privacy like that, even though one of the rules we had agreed upon was complete openness and the option to review each other's digital communications. We both knew I never actually intended to do so. To my astonishment, I discovered overwhelming evidence that they had been having an affair for an unknown period of time, but definitely longer than our open experiment. It seemed like they had actually come up with the idea together to have even more time together, on top of what they were already doing behind my back. During the time I was aware of, they were meeting far more frequently than I knew, with her girlfriend parking down the street and sneaking through the backyard to avoid setting off our security system. They would spend nights together when I was out of town or working overnight shifts. They also lied about having to stay late at work just to spend more time together and had closeness at their workplace during work hours. They did it in our bed. Didn't even change the sheets afterwards sometimes, which was a boundary that my wife herself had proposed we keep as something for only the two of us. In addition to disregarding multiple physical boundaries and lying about the timeline, I discovered messages where they were making plans for the next 2 years. They planned to essentially live together in our house for a significant part of the year while I was away for work, using the increased income I would bring in to finance their activities. What shocked me even more was that my wife was the one taking the lead in their relationship. There were instances where her girlfriend expressed hesitation, and my wife reassured her by saying she would fix everything for them. She told her girlfriend that as long as she kept me content and clueless, they would soon have the freedom to build a life together. As I read through the texts, it felt like I was encountering some kind of twisted sociopath I had never known before, certainly not the person I've loved and devoted 15 years of my life to. When I confronted my wife about all of this yesterday, she tried to play dumb and acted as if she had no clue what I was talking about. Even when I showed her screenshots of her own messages, she continued to deny the clear evidence of a long-standing affair she had planned to continue, using me for financial security while leading a double life with her girlfriend. It took hours of discussion before she finally admitted to everything. Honestly, I'm completely lost right now. Every decision I've made as an adult has revolved around us as a team, always striving for our shared goals that we were so close to achieving. It's like I don't even recognize this person anymore, and we've been together for more than half of our lives. Now that she's been caught, she's claiming that she ended things with her girlfriend and is willing to do whatever it takes to rebuild the trust between us. To me, it feels like an impossible situation. Because of the nature of their jobs, my wife and the person she cheated on me with will be seeing each other almost every day for the next 2 years. They'll have to stay overnight together on multiple occasions, and there's even a possibility of being assigned month-long night shifts alone together. They've already cheated while at work multiple times, with my wife even texting her afterwards about how exciting it was. Even if I reach a point where I want to work things out, I don't see how that can happen as long as they continue to see each other daily. If she leaves her current job, it would essentially mean the end of her career, leaving her with a significant amount of debt and no way to pay it off. She's trying to come up with a system of accountability to regain my trust and ensure she's not continuing the affair at work. But I can't think of anything that would give me the level of reassurance I need. Her past actions have involved extreme and complicated deception, and she has proven capable of looking me in the eye and lying in a way that made me believe her. I'm almost certain that we need to get a divorce, although I wish I could be completely sure. Her family is deeply religious, and they might disown her because her affair was with another woman. Her family has also witnessed the love and support I've given her throughout the years, and they consider me as part of their family. In fact, I'm probably closer to her parents than I am to my own. Moreover, her actions at work could have serious consequences, possibly leading to setbacks or even her losing her job. This would leave her with a significant amount of debt that would be difficult to pay off. Even though she has done so much wrong, I can't bring myself to completely destroy her personal life, family, and career. So for now, I'm keeping the truth hidden from almost everyone we know until we can come up with a believable explanation for why this seemingly happy and accomplished couple is getting a divorce right when we were about to enjoy the rewards of all our hard work. I feel like a fool. I feel incredibly lonely, and posting anonymously on a subreddit is one of the few ways I can try to make sense of the most agonizing experience of my life. Update. For the sake of covering all bases, I had a discussion with my wife about the possibility of continuing our relationship in some form. There was a tiny chance of reconciliation, but her non-negotiable condition was that she continues seeing her affair partner. This made it clear to me that leaving is the right decision. Where we live, the law requires a long formal separation period, and we completed the initial draft of the paperwork last night. I must give her credit for being agreeable to almost everything I've proposed for our divorce. I've aimed to be fair but assertive in deciding how we split our assets, and it's clear that I'll be in a better financial position than her. I'm also getting possession of both pets, which is incredibly important to me. She hasn't hired her own lawyer yet, and unless we encounter unresolved issues, she doesn't plan to do so. Currently, there aren't any major disputes, but having legal representation gives me a significant advantage. I'll stay in the house, occupying separate bedrooms, until the final draft is signed to facilitate discussions about any further changes. Afterward, I intend to move out soon. Hopefully, that will happen shortly. Regarding the job, I decided to cancel the contract. Since no money had been exchanged, and it was before my official start date, it was a relatively straightforward process. Although it was a good opportunity, there are other options available, and I'm currently in talks with recruiters. I'm considering looking for a job that involves some travel since I don't have any commitments tying me down to one place. Completing the separation paperwork made the situation feel more real for both of us to some extent. I believe her narcissistic and manipulative tendencies, as I mentioned in my previous post, made her think I wouldn't actually leave. The fact that I can make my own decisions and choose to leave while she's still deciding between me and her affair partner seemed unexpected to her, but it's the reality of the situation. As soon as the separation period is over, I'll be filing for divorce. My friends have been amazing and supportive throughout this ordeal. Both sides of our families have shown overwhelming support for me, and I've been mindful to focus our discussions on what happened rather than dwelling on the gender of the person involved. Several people have generously offered me a place to live while I search for work and figure out my next steps. I feel incredibly fortunate to have such a supportive network and the resources to take some time to sort things out. I can't even imagine how much more difficult this process would be without their help. One of my friends even took me out to be my wingman and helped me navigate the unfamiliar territory of trying to connect with someone new in a bar. It's a completely new experience for me as an adult, since I was just a kid when I got into my previous relationship. I had the chance to meet some really cool people and simply enjoyed being part of social situations where my ex wasn't the main focus. It was a fantastic experience. Lately, I've been prioritizing the practical aspects of moving on, taking care of myself, attending therapy sessions, and rediscovering hobbies that I had neglected for a long time. I'm optimistic that the best days of my life might still be ahead, and I'm grateful for the support from my loved ones and even random strangers on the internet who have reached out to me